Aminoor Rahman, what a beautiful name. From Tarikhology. We'll come back to that name, Tarikhology. This is an organization that is making history through da'wah. It's academia and philanthropic combination. They believe that Islam is for everyone and that it's our duty to convey the message in a beautiful, creative way, using the Quranic injunctions, right, to look at our rich history. And today, Tarikhology, I know you do a podcast, you got a YouTube channel, all the articles, the resources, they got so much, even some of the stuff that we'll be displaying here today, on all the courses that they do on contemporary issues. It's such a breath of fresh air to get them on the sofa to talk more about their academic, their stance and your literature. So, Assalamu alaikum, Aminoor Rahman. Well, you should be really proud of yourself for what you're doing.
Well,
Tell us about the name.
So Tarikhology is inspired from the word tarikh, which is essentially the word tarikh, which is referring to history.
Yes.
And the word ology comes from the Greek word logos, which is referred to knowledge.
Right.
So if you put it together, like psychology, the study of the psyche, sociology, the study of society, tarikhology, the study of history.
Right.
It's a word that we coined because we believed that the word history is it's an embodiment from the Holy Quran itself. As Allah is always telling us, look back at those before you, look back at the past. He's telling us to refer to what? He's telling us to refer to history. So we thought that this is very suitable as a name because it's embodying the spirit of what the Quran is telling us to do.
Before you beautifully articulated that, what I gathered from was technology and tariqah and the path that we are on, Islam. But it's got a really good ring to it, so well done on the branding. What's different about this podcast and this initiative to others? Because there are many out there,
Of course, and this is a good question. The biggest difference between our podcast and most other, our podcast is meant to be substantive. It's informative. We have a lot of podcasts online which our kids are watching, which are usually just for bragging. I did this, I've made so much money, I've done this in my life, I've done that in my life. There's none of that on our podcast. On our podcast, it's enough for someone to watch the podcast, a young boy or girl. It's not Muslim or non-Muslim, it's open to everyone because our podcast is informative. A young boy or girl watching it can watch an episode and then learn about who that person is. For example, one of our episodes, we had a teacher come on and he spoke about who he was, his journey, why he got into teaching, how did he get into teaching, his recommendations, and any advice.
I've had a browse, to be fair, off your YouTube channel. Some beautiful guests. There was one sister there who's in the medical field.
Yes, Sister Sabria.
She's a luminary, honestly.
Yes.
Watch that space because I found her quite inspiring.
Definitely.
Very intellectual, but very humble at the same time. And she studied at these great universities. Yes. The Mohammed as well, the Mohammed II, that episode was very successful. Why do you think so?
So that was the Mohammed II was our documentary.
Right. So the documentary, right?
Yes, our documentary. Right. So that was our first big scale production where we flew to Turkey.
Fantastic.
And it took us about 6 months to produce and then plan, and then we flew there. And what we did is we wanted to show an authentic narrative of how the Sultan Mehmed or Muhammad Al-Fitr conquered Constantinople with a lot of media online, with a lot of misinformation online. We're trying to show an authentic and accurate representation of how the Ottomans conquered Constantinople from the Romans. Obviously, you have a lot of very famous TV shows depicting it, but there's a lot of misinformation, inaccuracies, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is accuracy of information.
On that point, I mean, you probably spoiled for choice. Which topic do you take on next? The books are replete with great stories, right? Yeah. And moral, with moral undertones. And my question to you is, what next for Tarikhology and how? That's one question. And the other one is, we have a challenge at our hands. The new generation, their attention span is practically zero.
Yes.
How do we not give them the same run-of-the-mill lectures, bayans and things, and how do we get that across to them in an engaging way that will be inspiring, but the penny needs to drop. That knowledge, after an hour of digesting, it needs to be sunk in. That's the second question. And the third question, and you can wrap that all up into one beautiful answer,
sure,
is the non-Muslim audience. You know, I've got so many non-Muslim friends, and when you articulate something that's so normal to us
Yeah.
about sujood or prostration or prayer or, you know, worship, it's how you do it.
Of course.
So those three questions, if you can kind of give us a beautiful response to that.
Yeah, of course. To answer what's next, our primary goal is to give da'wah and to make history. And we do that through da'wah, academia, and philanthropy. So as a whole, Tarikhology, our primary goal is to convey the message. We're not on a mission to convert people. We believe, as Allah instructed the prophets to do to us, convey the message, but ultimately the choice is up to the person. So our mission is to convey the message. And we do that through the YouTube channel. And that's partly the reason how alhamdulillah, we've built up some traction, because our viewership is usually the youth. According to our analytics, our average demographic is between 15 to 35. So we're getting a very good demographic in terms of all of our episodes. Our documentary, alhamdulillah, has reached 100,000 views.
100,000 views and counting.
Yes, I'm counting.
And it's available on YouTube?
It's on YouTube.
Guys, quickly, while your interview is going on,
Yes.
please remind the viewers on where they can, and what's the name of the YouTube channel?
So the YouTube channel is literally, as it says there, it's Tarikhology. And if you go onto our channel, if you go to our videos list, if you go on, it's titled From Sultan to Caesar, Mohammed II's Ascension to Glory.
Beautiful. Guys, have a quick look at this. Tarikhology, stunning. And this is your dawah pack?
Yes, so it's our dawah gift set. When we do our street dawah, or when someone who's new to Islam or interested in Islam, we provide them with one of these.
So if I was receiving this
Yes.
as a new Muslim, if you like, I've got the Quran and Sunnah.
Yes.
You know, we've got Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam, the Muslim portrayal.
Yes.
This is fascinating. I know someone who's actually preparing some material like this for their schools.
We are as well.
Fantastic. The hijab. I mean, these are hot topics that
Very hot
people
topics.
just are slightly muffled about, you know, and the media doesn't help.
Exactly.
The media does not help with all these issues, even our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is important that this work needs to be, you know, proliferated as far as possible. I'm still intrigued to hear the last part of the question about engaging your audience with the new generation. How do you win them over?
We genuinely believe that you have to get with the times in order to interact with the new generation.
Yeah.
The old school lectures don't necessarily work anymore.
Yeah.
Kids, the attention span for children is decreasing. We're now trying to be a lot more proactive. Instead of just giving the bayan, we're now in the streets, we're on the field, connecting with the local community. Hence why we do the philanthropic engagement side of things.
Yeah.
We're engaging one-to-one with the local masajid. So this is how we access communities through the variety of mosques that we've worked with the local schools that we've worked with. We've worked with organizations, some big, some small, and that's essentially our way to communicate with the local community. It's easier for them to fully appreciate what you do when you're physically there.
Right. And in terms of your funding, you seem to be got things really, all your ducks in a row. It's really impressive and inspiring, actually. And the prospectus, what's this all about?
So the prospectus essentially is, if someone who has never heard of who we are, the prospectus is a very good way. If you have 2 minutes, if you can go through the prospectus, it will tell you everything we do.
Fantastic. And I'm going to grab that. You look very sharp there. Yes.
So that actually brings on to the award on the table.
Right.
Alhamdulillah, Tarikhology started as a university society. The university that we went to did not have an Islamic society. There was very minimal accommodations for Muslims. So what I decided is let's change that. Alhamdulillah, I was fortunate enough to study in a madrasa, then I was fortunate to study abroad. I had some Islamic knowledge, so I figured let me impart it onto my fellow brothers and sisters in humanity.
How long have you been running?
It's been running for about 4 years now.
Well done.
So from the society inception till now.
And any challenges?
Yes.
What? Tell us. Are you doing this full time?
No.
No. What's your background?
So my background, I work in the civil service.
Fantastic. Okay. Challenges.
Challenges. I would say there's two main challenges. The first one is, and this comes back to community. The first one's probably manpower. It's hard to find people that are interested.
You're looking for volunteers?
Oh, of course.
Please, guys, if you have a burning desire, because I'm sure you can train them as well, how to communicate.
Of course.
You want to do something for Islam. You want to articulate this beautiful religion, right? Get in touch with Aminoor Rahman, and I'm sure they will guide you and help you to become a part of the beautiful light that you guys are trying to spread across the UK and beyond, inshallah.
Ameen.
Where can we find out more
So
about
our
you?
website, we have two main websites. We have the Tarikhology website, www.tarikhology.co.uk. We also have an online bookstore, which our aim is to be the largest Islamic history bookstore
Amazing.
for an English-speaking audience. You have so many bookstores that specialize in very general books. Our one is primarily Islamic history, but we do have other books. We have a section for Islamic history, Sirah, and normal history. But then we have sections for new Muslims, those
Brilliant.
interested in Islam, and those who are born Muslim but may not be as attached to their faith.
You know what, on that last point, people who are born Muslim and are not attached to their faith, my dear respected brothers and sisters, I've seen a lot of cases where, in cases also some of my own friends are leaving Islam. They're not praying, they are disenfranchised with hadith, they are questioning things which, don't get me wrong, we need to question. But they are literally leaving the deen, they're leaving Islam and becoming atheists. And I think a lot of it's to do with the blame on us.
Of course.
We are not showing Islam in its full grandeur.
Exactly.
On that note, we wish you all the best, inshallah. Tarikhology, beautiful name.
Ya